Is America's middle class dead in 2022? What was once the pinnacle of a promising future is now what is setting hundreds of young Americans back millions of dollars. New things are said, new posts are shared, another dollar is made, another dollar spent. How do you keep track of it all? How do you manage your money well? This isn't just another finance podcast. We have real conversations on the ins and outs of building your wealth, using advice and applications from business owners, market makers, investors, and more. Money talks, but you're listening to Wealth Whispers. Picture this. You graduated from college. You were told to go to school to get a well-paying job so that you could live a nice, healthy life and retire by the age of 65. Your dream job asks for a bachelor's or master's degree. Okay, cool. You have that. So maybe you'll have a chance. Except they want 5 to 10 years of field experience. Oh, by the way, they're paying minimum wage. Or if you're lucky, a few bucks extra. I could go on, but you guys get the point. The generational gap we introduced in the last episode is increasing the distance between the lower and higher classes, between 18 and 35-year-olds, creating a very delicate domino effect. Housing calls for the need of a job, jobs call for the need of a degree, and degrees need to be justified by jobs. Many young Americans joined the race to college after being insured a well-paying job. Some went to community schools, others went to big universities debt-free. Most, though, unfortunately, have been paying out of pocket or have borrowed loans. To understand the different reasons why people consider borrowing loans, it's key to know who they are and what backgrounds they come from. Large portions of students are minorities who are first-generation college alumni trying to help their immigrant families out of financial situations. So they might see loans as a boost forward. Others are students who come from middle-class families that are exploring fields of their interest. Their family may not make enough to be considered upper class, but their household income may prevent them from being eligible for federal aid, resulting in the reliance of loans. Some students study at in- and out-of-state universities because programs, majors, or internship opportunities are not offered at smaller community colleges. These are just a few points that Rebecca Lake points out in her article, Student Loan Debt Crisis Breakdown. Lake finds that women are far more likely to finish their academic careers compared to men. However, in doing so, they have also accumulated nearly 2/3 of the nation's student debt, totaling $900 billion. This means that slow debt payoff from low-paying jobs in their fields won't only make it harder to pay off debt quicker, but also delay putting money aside for their own personal future investments. Lake finds that minorities like Hispanics and Black students borrow 26.9% more for four-year universities than white students, and are likely more to default on their loans. And 57% of Black women report being unable to meet their essential expenses after making their debt payments. How does this affect their position in the middle class? Well, permanent housing demand for millennials, both in and out of college, has skyrocketed. Economists have found that the depressed rate in homeownership among young owners was entirely linked to income and affordability. Student debt that pays for the cost of campus living is delaying homeownership by 7 years. For those living off campus, some cities have more than doubled the median price-to-income ratios since the 1980s. Residential spaces are high in demand, resulting in the increase to their prices. These large financial gaps between income and housing prices can be seen affecting the lifestyles of young adults who desire the best for themselves, but are bound by the cost of their own standards of living. The more these communities continue to grow, the more the wealth gap will drift apart. In the same way millennials looked for financial freedom through higher education, others went right into the workplace, hoping to work their way into a well-established position. This attempt, though, can also show little results. Those that have chosen to stay in the retail, fast food, and supermarket industries have realized that their wages hardly provide any breathing room for expenses outside of the essentials. If they do pay well, they may not always provide the necessary skill opportunities to grow into a higher position. This isn't necessarily a call for students to drop out, but the data is something to consider for those entering college careers, and most importantly, those already out of it. We need to connect solutions, both political and social, to help with these communities in ways that will benefit them on all fronts, so that they are better prepared to contribute to their fields and to contribute to the hope in a better tomorrow. In the next episode, we'll be walking through applicable and tangible ways millennials can navigate through this map of the job market, education, and housing. Thanks for joining in on another episode of Wealth Whispers. I'm your host, Josue Garcia. Stay plugged in for new episodes coming your way.